Okay, Tori, what room is this?
This is the withdrawing room. I presume that's where the word drawing room comes from. We've come here on a number of occasions and we've done vigils in this room in the very cold, and we've recorded what sounded like a cat meowing. We all heard it at the time as well, and we were assured there was no animals in the building afterwards. Also, when sitting here, we picked up on 3 children in the area. In fact, my first walk through this room, I actually saw a little boy standing by the fireplace. After that, we were sitting here doing a vigil, and I turned round to see a little girl sitting on the floor just beside me. She was completely solid and then disappeared, wearing a puffy sleeved skirt. And she had a cloth over her head as well, over her hair. She disappeared, and then I remember feeling very uncomfortable because I felt like she was very curious as to why I had a nose ring and what it was. But it certainly felt very cold at the time and rather uncomfortable as well. We picked up on the children on a number of occasions, and we weren't very sure if it was the children that were playing that was causing them, like they were doing the wee meow noise. But we had recorded it a few times and heard it a few times as well.
So it's really odd that it's children that's been picked up in this particular room, because it's the withdrawing room, which it's a very male room. It's got a male feel to it, and of course after a meal or a what would you call it, a banquet or whatever, the men would retreat to this room to have their smoke sometimes. Yeah, so it's a very male orientated area.
It's not where I would assume there would be children.
No, no.
There is a black spiral here. You can find it quite easily. We've got a spiral just centred, just here, spiral further out, with all these black energies coming in towards it. It's been attracting all of these energies. 1, 2, 3, quite a lot of energy coming in just to that spot. So you always find these black spirals, it's always very cold. And that's what these ghosts and apparitions seem to feed on.
And that's right where you're standing?
Right where I'm standing, yeah.
That's pretty much where I saw the little girl.
The little girl too?
Yeah, so the little girl was sort of, about there. The figure of the chainsaw was right by the curtain, sort of there. So and the only other thing I've seen is a little boy, that was by the lamp, by the fireplace.
By the lamp, try there as well.
Try there as
There'll
well.
be black spirals all over the place.
But that little boy's moved around, he's been seen in other areas too.
Yes, that often happens. You seem to flip from one black spiral to another. There's another one just here as well too.
Yeah.
It's interesting that David's mentioned the black spiral here where you saw the little girl, because that's also the spot, as you mentioned, where I saw the grey figure. And I'm still not entirely sure what to make of that, whether it was an optical illusion or something, but I can run through it again. I came from the room just behind where the camera is, and it was dark. So it was dark outside, and the light was on next door in the pink room. And just as I came out of the room down there, Tori appeared from this room, and I then looked over towards the window and saw the grey figure. Now I don't know whether it was some kind of after image from seeing Tori's silhouette against the brightness from the light next door or not, but the only thing I can say is that the figure I saw was face on, whereas you'd come through the door and I would have seen you from the side on more. So I don't know, but it's worth mentioning, but it's just something else that we've experienced here. This is a very important room. It's the pink room, which was once the Great Hall. So the clan chief would have entertained his guests in here. It's been used for a variety of things actually. It's also got lines on the floor, so it's been used as a badminton court at some point in time. And there's also an interesting relic over here from the past. I'll move that chair. There's the evidence to what the castle was used as not so long ago. It's just a a storeroom, and it would have led to the now demolished wing. But if you look at the door, there's some Polish writing on there. This door's obviously been turned around at some point because the writing would have been on the outside, but it's just a clue to the castle's former use as a Polish medical supplies base in the Second World War.
To the following ley lines. People, when they're moving from A to B, also make their own ley line. It's almost as if they're walking through a nether and leave a sort of wave of energy behind them, which lasts for several days. And you can very often find that people's energy here, for instance, that's the energy of somebody coming up the stairs and walking around. Very strange, but it's a works. And they've been wandering around. Just looking at anything, presumably. No, that's energy from a person walking around. It's not lately.
I think was it our first visit here?
Oh, it was our very
first visit here. We decided to have a session of glass divination in this room. So we set up our table and everything in the middle of the room, and while we were asking questions, we could hear answers. Just little female voice, sounded like it was in another room echoing. It just sounded like it was in the room next door. And we were getting answers to the questions, the same as the glass was spilling out, which I found very interesting.
It was quite frightening for us.
It was quite a...
they were very, very faint voices. I don't think they were. I think we maybe got one or two actually recorded on the audio equipment.
They didn't record very
They
well.
weren't very. It wasn't a very good recording. And as you say, the voices were faint, as if they were in another room or muffled, like they were downstairs or next door. But again, we were the only people here.
And they were echoey, like our voices are as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And was this same lady's voice not recorded elsewhere?
Yep, we've recorded a woman's voice several times now. Same, sounds very similar, sounds like the same person. We do have recordings of her voice. And we think it's the lady that's been seen. We think it's Lady Anne, whose portrait hangs in this room.
Yeah. On our first visit, and many times since, we've sensed a lady in this room, in this area in fact. She's the lady of the house. This is her place. She's very adamant of that. And in fact, she's been seen as well.
Yeah, she has been.
She has been seen as
One
well.
of our team members saw her quite clearly when we were doing an event here.
Mm-hmm.
She'd circled a group of guests. Well, they were obviously unaware of her presence, but she circled a group of guests, basically to see what we were doing.
Yeah.
So has the lady of the house made herself known in any other ways?
We believe she has. Some people report an odour like a floral scent in this room that can't be explained. I don't think we've ever encountered that, but I know that guests have mentioned that before.
And they've not been able to attribute it to cleaning products or anything like that.
What we have had happen though is when we've been here on investigation overnight, we often have a break just to top up our caffeine levels and things. And we used to use the office next door. And while we've been in there with the door open, we've actually heard footsteps coming from this room. They sound like a woman walking in heels, clacky heels on the wooden floor. So we've heard that. And we know it's not us, there's nobody else in the building, so that's rather strange. Things like that do often happen when we least expect them, when we're on break, for example. It seems to be the way at times. And again, when we've been on our break, there's a metal cabinet through in the room next door, and the door on that has been slammed shut while we've been sitting in the office. And again, we can't explain that either, because we were the only people in the building at the time. I'll show you where it is, actually.
And it was this door that you think opened?
We were in the room next door and we heard a metal bang, which is identical to that, so we've concluded that it was that door slamming shut. which it can't do on its own. It's very heavy, it's solid metal. So that's a bit puzzling. This room would have originally been a servant's bedroom, and the office would have been a bedroom as well. And the bedrooms are paired on the stairwell. There's a servant's one next to a main bedroom, and these pairs of rooms carry on up the stairwell. So this is what this would have been originally.
We also picked up on a young girl who was locked up in a room in the castle, and the word oubliette as well came through. We've since found out that there was an oubliette in the castle, actually joined onto the pink room here. I believe that the girl starved to death. I also believe that she had one of her fingers cut off. I think there was probably some kind of torture or interrogation that she went through. But that's all I really know about it just now. So there may be more to that story, I don't know. We'll see.
Of course, cutting off of fingers is quite a common punishment in days gone by.
Yes, especially if any of the servants divulged any knowledge that they shouldn't have done.
Exactly.
I don't think she was a servant.
Well, can you imagine going to another new boss and saying, "Can you have a look at your hand? You've got a finger missing."
Exactly.
Well, this is true, yeah, but I don't feel like she was a servant. I don't feel that. I feel that she was nobility. You know, she was.
Got a finger missing. Yeah.
Which is interesting, yeah. So I don't know, but we'll see.